Good morning, everybody, and happy Tuesday. So, I don't know what was going on with OBS, but OBS went bonky on me. And I'm not exactly sure what the story was with it. But because of that, I am actually kind of hanging out over here. I'm actually on the Restream client online, which doesn't do well with me switching cameras. So, we're just going to skip the warm-ups this morning because we can't really do warm-ups. It's kind of a bummer. But we've got everything set up over here, and I'm double checking to make sure everything is good, and it does look like it's good. Okay, we are in week 45 of this year, which is kind of interesting. And our show today is sponsored by Mathiol, who says, "Art speaks where words are unable to explain." Art speaks where words are unable to explain. All right. As a note of just things, I've got a photo shoot on Thursday somewhere in the Denver metro area. So I'm not going to be able to be on the show on Thursday. So be aware of that so that if you guys are here, there will be no show on Thursday. So, all right. We'll just go on ahead and get to work on this. We were working on this modified version of the Reliant here, which is the original design for this ship when they originally brought it to Roddenberry. I'm going to get my model out of here because I got to look at this guy. When they brought the original Reliant out for Roddenberry to look at, he took a look at it and said, well, I like it, but he didn't realize that they had the model upside down, the drawings of the model upside down like this. And he liked, the ship was originally designed like this and they had the drawings upside down. And he really liked these dropped nacelles. And he said that would make it functionally distinct. It would look different than the Enterprise, which has, of course, the raised nacelles. The dropped nacelles would help look visually distinct in a lot of ways. So they decided for the Reliant that it was a good idea to not have the raised nacelles. So that's where we got the dropped nacelles. So my buddy Chad is working on effectively trying to get this corner. Can I get that in the corner? No, I want this one in the corner. There we go. That way we can have everything up there. My friend Chad wants the original version for his game. So we're going to go on ahead and do that here. We've already gotten the side view here going. We'll put in things like windows and stuff like that in a moment. Real quickly, I'm going to go on ahead and clean the monitor because, of course, like I always have with this, the monitor is gathering dust, and that makes this a little difficult. It's a lot of dust. All right. All right. Let's get to cracking here. I'm going to work on the other side view here and make sure my pin is set. And I'm going to work on a lot of straight lines here. Everything's a straight line. So that's the inner lines. I'm actually going to make a note. right? Because I think it's 7s are outer. Nope. More than that. That's because that was 4. Might be just slightly more than that. 8. Okay. There we go. All right. So we're set for outer, which means I'm going to go on ahead and just do this outer hull piece. Now, on the Reliant, the original version of the Reliant, this outer hull right here broke down for the went down just slightly for the impulse engine array. Right? So we're just gonna do that. Now, if I were really smart, I'd put a mark right like this and put a mark like this and then not work on this side of the ship at all. In fact, I think I'm going to go on ahead and just erase it because it's symmetrical to either side. So we're going to go like that and then give ourselves our warp missile strut, which digs into the hull of the ship, but only on one side because the other side's actually built into this. So it actually comes out like that. And we'll go in here and just clear this out like that. And that's right, we are set for nice. There. There we go. Now we go in here and check our control points. They're actually pretty simple and straightforward at this point. But it does make me think this guy needs to be raised up until he's level. Like that. There we go. And making that kind of curve around to one side. There. There. Just like that. You're going to come around the bottom side here like this and up like this. And we're just going to let this actually have, this shape is very uniquely designed. So we're just going to simplify this because, of course, we're going to need to. We'll go back out here on the control points. Just like that. There we go, just like that. And this guy needs to have a double bump. One bump there, one bump there. Up, up. Actually, it needs to not be so weird. No. Boy, that's not helping me any. There we go. Just like that. I'm actually going to take this guy, though. I'm going to take him down the other side over here. Bring this up. Bring that up. And just make that just one bump. And the idea here is to be very sure. You want to be very, very sure of your lines. I am still not doing good on being awake. I don't know what my problem is this week. I'm just running slow. And that's all right. We'll get this guy. We'll get it done. There. Now the warp nacelle at the back here, I'm going to go ahead and put it in 4, because this warp nacelle it's got a straight fin to the back. All right. It looks just like this. And we've got, that's not what I was after, but that's okay. We'll fix it. We'll fix it in post. There we go. And that's where we are. And we'll do this for that fin that's out there. There, just like that. And on the back side here, we've got this. And we can take a look at this from my refit, right? Looking at this tail section of the warp nacelle, what we've got is an inner piece of this warp nacelle which goes out through the back and goes all the way down to the bottom. And then we've got some smaller pieces going in back and forth. So let's take a look at that and let's fix that. Like, I feel like we're going to be here with everything but the fin. So let's get this guy out of the way. And put this up here. All right, so this fin sticks from the bottom of this part. And this is where it's very useful to have a refit hanging out here, because now I've got the ability to, oh, that's not what I wanted. There. We'll bring this down and that down to there, just like that. And I'm seeing more bits and pieces, which is actually this bump right through here. Excuse me. So we're looking past this fin into this area right here on the warp nacelle. I'm actually going to pull a warp nacelle off right? When we look at the warp nacelle itself, in this instance, it's doing the same critter with the warp nacelle that we had before. So we're taking a look straight through the back of this warp nacelle, right? We've got an under piece there, which doesn't match as well, but that's okay. We'll get that piece there. And this guy goes all the way across. All right, that's not a good idea. We did this in. Here we go, just like that. This goes over these lines like that. So I have no idea if you're hearing music. You may not be. There we go. There. Good morning, Luna. I don't know. I think that my music has to be piped through the board. This morning, I found out that there's something wrong with OBS. So I don't know what OBS's problem is, but it was not working. It wasn't hooking up to Restream. And so I'm on actually the Restream website right now, broadcasting out from there. So we're working on an alternate version of the Reliant. And that's what we're doing here. And so this is the Reliant from Star Trek II, right? Let me go do this. The Reliant from Star Trek II right here. And initially, when they drew this, the warp nacelles were up like this. And Roddenberry saw the drawings upside down. And so he saw it with the nacelles down like this. And he said, oh, yeah, I like that design. And they, oh, well, but we didn't mean to make it with the warp nacelles down. But his whole argument was, and it makes some sense, that visually it is distinct from the Enterprise. It looks visually different. So during all those combat scenes where the Enterprise and the Reliant are fighting each other and the Terran Nebula and stuff like that, you can instantly and visually see a difference between the two ships. So it was logical. Well, a buddy of mine is doing a role-playing game set in the movie era, and his ship, the Tempest, is apparently an original version of that. So he commissioned me to redraw these horribly, old and ancient, decrepit drawings and redo them. So that's what I'm doing here. We're redoing those guys. And so the engineering impulse deck is raised. Not much actually changed between the version of this that we saw in the movie, except that the nacelles were flipped upside down, and that's pretty much it. So we're going to be able to take my little Reliant here and fill in details based on this Reliant model. Kind of square away the design. And so what I've done is I've put a line through the middle of the drawing, and I'm not going to go past this line very much if I can avoid it. I'm just going to clean up everything here, like make this so that these guys all match and everything like that, and come up on the bridge dome. And then I'm just going to copy and then flip the drawing, which should give me exactly what I'm looking for. So there we go. And the Reliant has two shuttle bays, which are on the back here. And they sit right about like this. And it has like a construction unit piece right here. And another one right here. And then this engineering deck just moves down like this into this whole piece here. And all I'm doing here is just looking at the back of because the detail in here is really lost, and it's very hard to see what's going on. So we're just going to play it by ear over here. Now I'll go in here and clean all this up. Make sure everything is straight. Which it's not. If this isn't really aligned well, when I go on ahead and move this and flip it onto the other side, we're going to end up with some really strange... No, that's not what I wanted you to do. Strange wandery lines and stuff like that. They won't look symmetrical. They won't look right. So it'll be difficult. It's where your head is. So there is a wonderful artist by one of my wonderful comic by one of my favorite artists, Dave Collett, Dave Collett, Kellett. He writes two comics. One's called Sheldon, and the other one's called Drive. And they're great comics, and he's a great artist. But yeah, he actually wrote an entire comic about that, and it was very funny, where he talked about why the Enterprise and everybody is always facing the same direction. And the end result is, if you have one ship like this and the other ship's like this, it just looks like the other ship is just like, I don't know what I'm going, But in reality, this is how we would see everything, right? I mean, we would see ships that were down and turned a different direction, and they'd be like this, and yada yada yada. So it's really just a conceit. There's a lot of things that in a television show or whatever, there's a conceit to a certain amount of what would look weird and what would look not weird. And I appreciate that. I mean, to some degree, I really do appreciate it. There we go. Put that to the midline. I'll just add a point in here to give it that rise. This section, this structure right up here, part of the impulse deck, and it needs to rise up. There we go. And that comes down and goes across, and now we're actually working. We're cooking with Mazzola. Look at us cooking with Mazzola. There, just like that. So, all right. I am having sinus headaches again today. Boy, it is brutal out there at the moment. And this needs to be simplified, because I've got too many control points here. I like how that's simplified. This is not simplified, people. Okay. Kind of like that it's thinning out as it comes across here. That's kind of cool. But I can pull that through to about here. And then pull that up just a smidge right there. There we go. Now we're kind of making this after deck look pretty good and solid. It's just a bunch of really interesting pieces. This guy actually goes all the way up to the top of that deck. Right there. So this guy actually needs to connect to the deck in some way or another. So I'm just going to go on ahead and take him all the way across. There. There we go. I'm going to connect this up here, and then I'm going to push it out. Oh, I might add a control point. I'll push it out like this. That's got a nice curve to it there. That has a slight angle to it as it comes out and around. The other thing we want to look at is we've got a couple of stripes that are going on right here. So we're going to need those to kind of go out on this side too, because that's the same structure we're dealing with right there. So we're going to take these little stripes here, around 4. Got one comes out all the way across like so. And then, except they're on the right, the top of the dish, but on the bottom of that. And then we got another one that comes out like so. Go to the eraser, and we'll pull out what's crossing across the warp missile strut. Like that. I'm also noticing that this structure here probably will show up there. So we're going to have to put that there in some way or another. Probably the easiest way to do that would be to take this guy right here, right, and select the points. How do I select the points? Uh-oh. Someone just disconnected. Well, not my monitor. Not sure what disconnected, but I see both my camera and my screen, so screen's still connected and monitor's still connected. I don't know what's going on. Pen still works. I'm just going to go on ahead and put in the door, or the garage door, if you will, for this. The shuttle bays on this ship clearly have the little segmented doors that like that. I mean, you can very clearly see that they're striated. So that makes the doors like our garage doors. So the garage doors. We'll keep going up on the top of the castle up here. The bridge structure along the top, like so. I'm going to go past this midline and make sure that everything goes past it so I don't have any real problems with it. There we go. So I'm going to drop a curve there. Now, looking across the middeck, I can see the docking structure for the shuttle back here, shuttlecraft docking structure. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Since the docking structure itself is a circle in the center, dead center through the middle of the vessel, I'm going to wait till I flipped it to do that, because I want to make sure that, and this is the control point in the Bezier curve, this line is not actually accurate to the dead center of the vessel, and that's not helping me. Because in order for this to truly be correct, we're going to want it pinned down to either side. I've totally had days like that. Your brain's like, beep-a-doop, and you're like, really? This is the way it's going to be? Okay, the bridge structure itself comes up and across along the back of the castle here. It actually has two pieces to it. It's got this, then it's got this. It kind of goes forward into the bridge dome. It's kind of hard to see exactly what's going on up there. Easier to see on this guy. If you look at the bridge dome itself, we've got sort of a divot, like a divot right there, right? The bridge dome has a docking port on the back side of it, which is what I'm trying to represent here. So we've got to make sure that we've got kind of that bridge structure up here that's working. The the Reliant was, the model of the Reliant was an AMT model kit that was being prototyped. So they were like, okay, well, you're going to do, it was an original, like the original movie, the motion picture model kit. And the model kit that they used for the motion picture was, they just bought a model kit for the motion picture. They had a large version of the model kit from the AMT, the guys that make the AMT. So the Reliant model is actually an enterprise model that they just built up, a model kit they just built up. So I always kind of like that story. It's kind of funny how ingenious model builders are. You're just this random dot out here, aren't you? You need to be randomly killed. There. Okay. Now we've got the light structure that's under here. There we go. Right? It was totally a kit bash, which was cool. I mean, that was just a neat thing. So, I mean, it was just this great kit bash that it still to this day is kind of like, huh? So you made a kit bash out of that. That's a fascinating thing. I mean, okay, what do we do? There we go. Okay, so we're underneath the saucer section here, just trying to kind of get this structure under here. This is the lighting domes that light up across the underside of the saucer. There. I see this guy getting to be a problem child. I just want it to not be such a rough transition there. Wow. My sinus headache is just not letting up. I don't like that. Okay, good. I'll make this kind of go out a little. Now let's take a look at it. Yeah, see, that's working just fine. And we will do another bow under here, bowed curve. I'm going to take this guy and move him just a little bit inside. That's really what we want right there. All right, that's an identification stripe, so it will work just fine. There we go. And then I need to do the photon torpedo tubes. We're going to do the same thing on these photon torpedo tubes. We're going to, I'm just going to go on ahead and put a direct line like this, because these are also pieces that didn't really exist in the ultimate version of the Reliant, because they changed this torpedo tube system, these torpedo tubes, they changed them to the roll bar that we're familiar with the Miranda class, which means that this version of it doesn't have the same model piece. Now to do that. But it does have this mean double torpedo launcher going forward and aft. And now we can go in here and fix some of this and bring it up a little like that. So, kind of like straighten these things out a little. There we go. So looking at this torpedo delivery system down here, I'm not ecstatic with it, but I think I can live with it. But I can kind of see why they opted against this anyway. The roll bar gives the Reliant a forward and after torpedo assembly, which is still an advantage over the Enterprise, which does not actually have an after torpedo system at all. It's just the forward torpedoes. So there's already an advantage we're dealing with here. So I can kind of see why they were like, well, we've already given her a lot of advantage as far as the Reliant went. And so, especially since we did see in the movie that somebody has to load these torpedoes. Somebody has to go down there and load these things. So, and I could see some of the other folks who were involved in this movie saying, well, let's not do that. Let's not give her that much of an advantage. There. Our random disconnect bug is back. That's an issue. The random disconnect bug was giving me more fits in Photoshop than it does in Clip Studio, but that doesn't mean that we are out of the woods with Clip Studio. All right. Do an adjust line width. We'll bring that up to 8 on this and right here. All right. Ooh, that's not what I wanted to do. It's all right. We'll fix it. There, there, and there. And then we're going to go back down to 4 and hit right here and there and right here, all the way to right there, and the same thing right there. And then you as well. And that's how you make that work so that it still works its job there. There. I got the lower torpedo launcher in, and I feel like maybe that should be straight. I think that it should be straight. Let me just simplify this. And take out all of these weird control points in there that I had added, and now I regret. There we go. There we go. Perfect. There. All right. We now have the lower structure here that makes the photon torpedo tubes work. Now what I'm going to do, I wonder if I can just, I guess I can't. The impulse lights. We need to do the impulse lights and the deck lights. Something that was a big deal for, I'm going to do a curve. And all it is it's right here, work, right there. And that allows us to put in one nav light. There we go. Just like that. And I think that nav light, nope, undo, don't do that. This nav light actually needs to be right here because I feel like it's on the tail. There. And we'll do the same thing over here. And right here. The navigation lights are obviously part of, just being able to see the vessel in the dark. So I make sure I have those nav beacons in correctly. There are nav beacons on the warp nacelle as well, but they're smaller. The other thing that's not on this warp nacelle is that impulse bump. It's right here and up, right? It's not a nav beacon per se. There we go. You can see it here. You can see me screw it up right there. So that's what we want. All right. I'm feeling like I'm pretty good with the left side of this vessel being the way it is. I might want to make these triangles smaller in the hull so they're not so obviously, or I want them to be distinct enough that they don't look like they're, well, I guess they do sort of, well, we'll do this and then this. And it's still aligned with that there, but it's not as large. And it has to be aligned with this side and aligned with that side. We'll do the same thing over here. There we go. All right. Now let's take this layer and duplicate it. Right. And this, then we take on this duplicated layer and we erase all of that. And we erase this guy because we don't need him at all. And then we erase this little dot that got left behind. Then we take this guy and we flip him. Transform. There. Now we turn on the bottom layer. This guy can move here until we align like that. And then we'll zoom in and make sure everybody is aligned. It looks like everybody is perfectly aligned, actually. So then I can take this layer and merge him with that layer. Hopefully we didn't just lose all of our points. Nope, we didn't. Although it is funny that there's two of these. That's going to be funny. Now we'll just go in and do some minor fix. Okay. Like this line and this line. And this line needs to be here. And that line needs to be there. I think one of these guys can just be killed. I'll just pull them up like this. Because the other one, whoa, that's not working in our favor. Just like that. And then I'll just delete this guy. There. Okay. There we go. So now we're kind of working here. We got it going pretty well. We've got a back view and a side view. And that should be pretty good. Moving along. Okay. For some reason, I'm having a hard time shaking this headache. And so I'm thinking I'm going to call it in about 4 minutes. And going ahead and try to figure out what's wrong with OBS and why OBS isn't working and stuff like that. But we managed to get the back view of the ship ready to go. The only thing left is on the back view, is to put the little docking unit right here. So we're going to do that real quick. That's a circle. What we're going to make is an ellipse. Yeah, I know it's going to be a good night moment. I am definitely not doing good on this one. Make this a circle. Brush size 4. And just put that right there. Right? And we'll take the straight line tool right through the middle, because this is a docking door. And there you go. Docking door complete. There are no side docking doors that I can see on this model. So that is quite literally the only door you can dock with on this ship. Well, hope you don't need to board this ship ever. Hope this ship never needs to be in dry dock. So, all right. We'll wait till the light here turns green, and then we'll call it for the day. I'm also feeling like a couple of things. Like I feel like this section needs to be just a little bit smaller. Like actually, I'll just kill this line. Kill that line. I could just put this right here. Put that right there. Some days the sinus headaches just really get to me. I don't even know what that is. That's a segment of a different. There we go. I'm going to adjust the line width at this point in time. And just this part and that part. And they're coming in from out there. Ooh.
It's time to take a quick break.
I didn't think that it would do that. It did that. Yay. That's cool. All right. Let's take a look at her. She looks fine. We'll hit save on this. And though I'm going to do the top view later on tonight. So this part I'll do later on tonight, because I've got to do Stevens tomorrow, and that'll be good. Again, I'm going to remind everybody that Thursday I'm out on a photo shoot, so there will be no show on Thursday, but there will be a show tomorrow, and I'm going to work on Stevens' drawing tomorrow, so we'll get to that one. And then in the meantime, thank you for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for talking to me, Luna, and keeping me company. And I will see you all on the morrow. Have a good day, and remember to keep your eyes on the stars.